happily adventures after. I am London. I am your one and only host at this current moment. Hey, you never know, we might get some cool co-hosts on. That would be me, honestly. And we are here with our Hey Disney Top 10. I just wanted to invite you back to another podcast for the Hey Disney Top 10, which, as you know, is a podcast-style discussion about a specific top 10 topic within each Disney area. For those of you who are new here, we chose to call it Hey Disney Top 10 because it's inspired by the Amazon Alexa's Hey Disney overlay within the Walt Disney World resorts. So as you know, the Hey Disney feature provides users with the opportunity to play games, learn information, facts, different things along that line in Walt Disney World, shares information about the Disney parks, as well as act as your personal concierge within your resort room. So for instance, you can ask that Hey Disney feature on the Amazon Alexa, and you don't have to use it in the parks, you don't, in the resort room, that have it, but you can ask the front desk, hey, can we provide you more towels? Can we get something up to our room? Could we have a wake-up call? Things like that. Why did we call it that? Well, that was just that. We want to act as that discussion for you, for information, facts, tips, tricks to share with you for Walt Disney World and hopefully other areas of Disney like Disney Cruise or Disneyland within the future. So our topics, as you know, on Hey Disney Top 10 range from a variety of things, whether they be park tickets, park attractions, food, travel tips, so much more. So we're here to bring you a new installment today. So this week, we are going to focus on the Happily Adventures After Hey Disney Top 10 tips for planning your Walt Disney World vacation. So if you heard last week's, we did the preparation for your Walt Disney World vacation. So now that you've kind of prepared yourself what to go for in Walt Disney World, we want to help you plan this out. Because as you know, planning for a Walt Disney World vacation is essential to making the most of a magical experience while you're in Walt Disney World. There's so much to see and do within the parks and the resorts on property at Walt Disney World. So having a plan can ensure you can hit all those must-see attractions, help you avoid long lines, pick the right dining, navigate the parks, resorts, whatever it is, it's to help it all run smoothly. From booking your dining reservations on the proper dates or even getting a last-minute dining reservation, as well as budgeting for unexpected costs, when you plan for Walt Disney World, it helps you reduce stress and lets you focus on enjoying your trip. As we all know, a well-planned itinerary also allows for flexibility and gives you the freedom to embrace some spontaneity moments, just like how Disney magic can be spontaneous while you're in the parks and at the resort. Most of all, it'll help make a most certain, unforgettable, magical vacation, which we know we can get at Walt Disney World. Before we keep going, I want to say that these tips are for Walt Disney World, okay? However, they can be used in just for Disneyland in California, Disney Cruise Line and Adventures by Disney Vacation, international Disney parks, or just honestly a vacation in general. Because they can be taken pretty generally. We do have specifics for Walt Disney World, but again, they can be modified to fit whatever your vacation is. I think it's really fun to plan out. I'm a huge planner, huge organizer, so I wanted to share these tips with you. And that's why we have our Hey Disney Top 10 tips for planning your Walt Disney World vacation to help you have the best vacation you can. So without further ado, and in no particular order, here are our Hey Disney Top 10 tips for planning your Walt Disney World vacation. So the first tip I would like to talk to you about for planning your Walt Disney World vacation is go longer than you think. When planning your Walt Disney World vacation, our top tip here, like I said, is to go a lot longer on this vacation than you possibly think you should. If you're considering a 4-day trip, I highly suggest you make it an 8-day trip. That is including, for instance, travel, and that's only if possible. These extra days will allow you to have breaks in between your park adventures, give you time to recharge. If you're staying at the Walt Disney World resorts, give you time to explore the resort, as well as just enjoy everything Disney has to offer. With more times that you have in your vacation, you can explore at a relaxed pace. You can savor the magical moments, and you can most of all avoid feeling rushed. And this is to ensure you have a very enjoyable and memorable vacation. Now, I do understand not everybody can go longer, but I highly suggest when you are looking at Walt Disney World, treat it as you want to go longer. So kind of maybe in the future, navigate your vacation accordingly so that you get the most out of this trip. And it doesn't have to be longer in the parks. It can just be longer there in general. Why do I say this? Well, from experience. So I always make sure to plan our Walt Disney World trips longer than 1 week. We are fortunate enough to be able to go for at least 10 days each time we visit Walt Disney World, thanks to the way we plan our trips. So we use weekends on both ends. So for instance, long weekend Friday, and then go Saturday, Sunday, go through that full week, and then Sunday, Monday of the subsequent week, that was the full week. Just giving you the example. So that's how we get that time out of it. This allows us to visit all the parks we want to, go back if we can. We do have annual passes, so we're not tied into ticket days, as well as explore Disney Springs and even schedule in off-property activities. We also build in rest days, which are perfect for relaxing by the pool and enjoying the resort. It's the best way to experience Walt Disney World without feeling rushed and make the most of our trips, make it magical, stress-free, and relaxed. Honestly, whenever I take a shorter trip to Disney, especially Walt Disney World, I always find myself wishing for more days, whether it be 1 or 2 more days. And that's why I plan for this 10-day trip. And that is including travel days. So basically 8 days within Walt Disney World or Orlando. It gives the perfect balance for enjoying the parks as well as having those relaxing moments. And when I only feel, for instance, when I'm going 7 days or 6 days with those 2 travel days on the end, I really do feel like I'm rushing through everything. But that 10 plus days, I can really soak in the magic and get that full Disney experience, even staying off property without feeling pressed for time. So that's why I highly suggest you go longer than you think. Our second tip we'd like to talk about is to venture outside of the Walt Disney World bubble. So why? Because when planning a Walt Disney World vacation, there's so much to do within the greater Orlando area. And that leads you to venture outside of the Walt Disney World bubble. Maybe you want to explore attractions beyond the park, such as International Drive, maybe Universal Orlando Resorts, maybe a beach. You can add a whole new dimension within your trip. Whether you want a thrill ride at Universal Orlando, or you're really into Harry Potter, or somebody in your family is and you really want to go see that. Maybe you want to enjoy the lively entertainment at City Walk, or indulge in a unique dining experience that's only there. I'm using Universal as an example. You have the opportunity to do that when you plan to venture outside of the Walt Disney World bubble. Maybe you want to plan an excursion to enrich your vacation and provide a well-rounded experience. This might be to go to a beach. Orlando's in the perfect area to kind of branch out and go to a beach because they're all about an hour and a half on either coast. So whatever you choose, it might make for a more enjoyable time as you step out of that bubble, and that could be part of your relaxing days. Plus, I always think it's really great to take a break from the parks while still enjoying the excitement of Orlando. Honestly, International Drive, for instance, it can be seen as a very touristy destination. I think has some really cool opportunities for you to step out of the Disney bubble, as well as hit up some really cool attraction-esque things. And that can be done even if you plan to Disney Springs Day. You go down to Disney Springs in the morning, see a drive in the afternoon, or vice versa. I always make it a point to venture outside of the Disney bubble during our trips. As I said, we go for a lot longer, so we choose to do this. One of my favorite stops is at either the Outlet Mall or the Mall at Millennia, because I know I can find amazing deals, especially as a Canadian. The premium outlet there is a lot better, for instance, than the ones we have in and around where I am. The deals are just a lot better in general. We also really love to explore other things like catching a movie at a theater. It doesn't have to be a Disney Springs movie theater. I do love the AMC, may I say. However, we venture out. We have one that we go to in and around Margaritaville off of Highway 192, I believe it is. We also like to do dining reservations outside of the Disney bubble. Also, venturing outside of the Disney bubble allows me to go grocery shopping and not doing grocery pickup. I actually like to go to Publix and pick up my groceries, or go to Target and pick up things and not have somebody do it for me. It's really great to stock up on the essentials so we can cook some meals. We stay off property in a kitchen, like room with a kitchen, so we can stock up on grocery essentials and ingredients to make some really great meals. Plus, it's just a nice way to enjoy yourself, especially after a long park day. all of that to be said, I just want to say that making sure you have a day at least to venture outside of the Disney bubble really helps make a magical trip to Walt Disney World, because there's so much more to do and you'll have something else to also talk about looking back on your trip and maybe want to explore more. Third tip is to purchase trip-specific items ahead of time. When you're planning a Walt Disney World trip, it's essential to gather trip-specific items ahead of time to avoid feeling overwhelmed. Now, I'm not just talking Walt Disney World specific items, which I know you can get on shopdisney.com, which I think is great because, for instance, you can purchase magic bands ahead of time, maybe some limited edition t-shirts, sweatpants, whatever it is you want to purchase. However, for Canadians, it's really difficult because of the expensive shipping, duty, and taxes on that. I will just flat out say that. I've experienced it. My parents ordering stuff for me when I was a little bit younger, when they didn't have the Disney stores in Canada, experienced it. All that to say, shopdisney.com is very expensive for Canadians, but I digress. I just think it's excellent to prepare ahead of time with trip-specific items that you'll be using while you're away. Okay, so let's say you know you need specific t-shirts, but you want to get ones that are specialty done and you want to do it off Etsy instead of buying it off the park. Well, it's perfect to do that, so well ahead of time you have what you need. Maybe you also want to go to off Amazon or to your local store because there's a snack you want to bring for the plane or while you're in the parks. Maybe you need a new suitcase. Whatever it is, just purchase items that are trip specific ahead of time and well ahead of time, so you're not doing anything the last day to even a week before where it's overly like, oh no, I gotta get this, that, and the other thing. Because the hassle and expense of doing all of that right before your trip doesn't really make it magical. You get stressed out, your family gets stressed out, or your friends, whoever you're going to go with. Being prepared ahead of time really mitigates the stress and makes it fun. So when I do this, when I plan and pack for Walt Disney World, I do make it a point to stock up on essentials for a smooth trip. So for instance, if I'm going to Disney World within a month, I will start a month ahead purchasing some essentials. Now, if I know I'm going to Walt Disney World for a specific event well ahead of time, so let's say Mickey's Not So Scary or Mickey's Very Merry, Jollywood Nights, whatever it is, I will purchase that my items for that, if I can, when I purchase the tickets. So last year we were going for Christmas. Not actually for Christmas, but we were going for Christmas parties. Well, it was, I think, September, and I started looking on Etsy for specific Christmas merch. I bought it then. But that made sure I wasn't stressed when I'm looking and like, okay, does it ship? Will it get here in time? Whatever else it is. Also, let's say you're a couple weeks out and you realize that you need new luggage. Do it now instead of doing it a week before your trip, so you know, especially buying it online, it gets here before your trip. I also tend to, maybe a week or two ahead, buy snacks I need for our journey. That way, again, I put them away so I'm not stressed out. All of this to say is when I'm headed down to Walt Disney World, I want to make sure I'm prepared and not stressed out, overwhelmed, and anxious. And buying all of these items ahead of time and planning to purchase them really helps me be prepared and focus on the fun and the magic of going to Walt Disney World, as well as it doesn't add to the stress of getting up at like 2 a.m. when you're going for a travel day. So you're stressing the night before, and it makes the most of a magical start to your vacation. So that's why we included this. Our next tip is to purchase gift cards ahead of time. So this fourth tip suggests that when you're going to Walt Disney World, purchase gift cards ahead of time, and then you have this really great stash of gift cards ready to go. It doesn't actually have to be Walt Disney World or just Disney gift cards in general, but also other gift cards such as Starbucks, Amazon's, gas stations if you're in the United States, maybe even clothing or grocery store if you plan on buying from a specific area. And you have this kind of stash of gift cards so that not only do you have a budget set, you're already prepared. Also, if you are in the United States, don't forget to take advantage of deals that Target has, for instance, where you can use your red debit or red credit card. You get 5% off all purchases. So that includes gift cards. So if you're doing a gift card every time you go, let's say you bought it, I'm just using it for whole numbers here, everyone. Let's say you bought a $100 gift card. Well, you're only actually paying $95 if you have that red credit or red debit card. Why wouldn't you do that? That is so smart. Also, check out Sam's Club or I think Costco in the United States for the occasional Disney gift card promotion. I've seen them where they're like $25 off a pack of, that would cost you, for instance, I think it was like $200. I'm not 100% sure. As a Canadian, they don't have these going on at Costco, and we don't have a Sam's Club anymore. So just be on the lookout. Okay, so all that to say is getting these gift cards and planning them out early really helps you not only maximize savings, but create a budget and plan for a stress-free trip because you have your expenses set out. We all know that unexpected expenses may happen. You might also have a budget. Let's say you're purchasing everything on your credit card and then paying it off after. But these gift cards will help you have another medium to perform these transactions. So I love to make it a point to purchase Starbucks and Disney gift cards before my trip. My family and friends and I always purchase, for instance, Starbucks or Disney gift cards while we're grocery shopping, and this builds us a little stockpile so we have it over time. Now, we put them away, even if it's like $15, for instance, for Starbucks. Well, you're grocery shopping once a week, twice a week. By the time we're ready to go to Walt Disney World, we have enough money on these gift cards to enjoy our favorite treats at Starbucks, for instance, in the airport without any, did I put these on my card? Do I have enough money there? It's already set to go. And the small step also can be added to, like I said, Disney gift cards. So you're either able to use them for treats, for purchasing, I like to use them for purchasing souvenirs, anything like that to add just a little extra excitement to going to Walt Disney World. And it makes you think of that fun trip as you're within the grocery store, or whatever it is. And doing so can also be a fantastic budgeting tool. Let's say you know that you bought 10 $500, whoa, where are we going with that? I just say $10, $50 gift cards over the time you've done grocery shopping for Walt Disney World. You can use those 10 to have a food budget because you'd be at $500. Maybe you have it for a souvenir budget so you know you can't go over. It really does help with overspending and mitigating any unwanted expenses if possible. And using this, it's a great tool to also keep track of your finances while you're in Walt Disney World, which we know can get a little bit costly. So that's why we suggest to purchase gift cards ahead of time for your Walt Disney World trip. Our next tip for the Hey Disney Top 10 planning to go to Walt Disney World trip tips here is to sign up for memberships such as hotel or airlines to collect points for future trips. They also lead to free hotel rooms and upgrades. So, when you're planning your Walt Disney World trip, it is essential that you sign up for free membership with various hotel and airlines. It can lead to free, or if you choose to get a credit card, they usually have a fee attached to the credit card, but you get greater upgrades. And so you get these memberships that allow you to collect points and lead to potential free or upgraded hotel stays, exclusive perks, upgraded airplane seats, maybe free tickets on your plane for any future trips that you may take. Just take a few minutes to enroll in the loyalty program so that you can enhance your travel experience and save money in the long run. Also, in doing so, you create a stockpile of points here. So every point counts when you're dreaming of that next magical adventure you may take. And then you might be at your opportunity to do so. So for instance, we really enjoy Delta Airlines and we've signed up for their Sky Miles. We signed up for it years ago. Sky Miles can also be used, for instance, if you're a Canadian with WestJet. We've also signed up for Air Canada's mileage program, which can be used in conjunction with United Airlines. Signed up for things like Hilton Honors or the Holiday Inn ING rewards. In doing so, having all of these different memberships allow you to accumulate points for future trips. And honestly, thanks to these programs, we've enjoyed several free hotel stays. We've redeemed free tickets to Walt Disney World from our chosen airport. We've also actually gotten upgrades to not only Walt Disney World, but other destinations that we've traveled with airlines, as well as been upgraded with hotel rooms just for having these point perks. And we use them, and sometimes they just do it not for free, but just because of how much you use them, so you become a valued member. It truly does add an extra perk to your travel experience. And if you're doing so, even if you do it one time, and this is your one and only time to travel, I highly suggest you do so you have that account. And then moving forward, you can use it if ever needed. So coming in at number 6 is to do your car checks before your trip. Now, this tip doesn't only count if you're driving to Walt Disney World, because you are going to have a vehicle if you have one, no matter what. Before you head to Walt Disney World, or honestly any vacation, it's essential to perform a thorough car check to ensure a smooth trip. Now, why? Because your car would sit there at home in your garage if you get picked up. It'll sit at the airport, whatever it is, or it's being used while you're going to Walt Disney World. So you want to make sure you do your oil checks, your tire pressure, your brakes, your windshield wiper fluid. Heck, put rain, I think it's Rain Away or Raino or whatever it is on your car to make sure the water kind of flicks off. Doing all of that, as well as making sure your gas tank is full before you even leave, helps to make sure you'll have a smoother trip. Also, if you're traveling long distance, this goes without saying, it's really wise to have your vehicle serviced so you don't have any surprises on the road. Some can happen, been there, done that, but it just really does help to have that. And you can also go back to that report should something happen while you're on the road and say, okay, this was checked, it was cleared, what happened, so on and so forth. A well-maintained car will enhance your safety, but really focuses on the entertainment and excitement ahead, opposed to having a car that is not working. Your car, like I said, is also, if you're not driving it, is going to be sitting there, whether it's in your garage, in an airport parking lot, all of that, okay? In doing so, it needs to be checked. Why? Because let's say you had a car issue and you're like, what happened? You wouldn't know if you didn't have it serviced. You wouldn't know, for instance, if you were just about to need an oil change and you left your car within that airport parking lot for a week, 2 weeks, and it was just on that verge before that light goes off. So that way you know you have oil in your car should you had it checked. Flat tires you kind of can't avoid unless you know that you had one before, but you can't avoid it if you run over something, so that's why you usually have a spare or run flat, whatever it is. But like I said, all in all, just make sure that you have a thorough car check before you head out to Walt Disney World or any vacation. That way, you know it's good to go when you return, and all the magic of Disney and all the surprises of Disney that are pure joy and happiness will be the only surprise you encounter, we hope, when you get back. So that is why number 6 on our list is to do your car checks before your trip. The 7th tip for planning out your Walt Disney World vacation is to plan your budget for and plan to purchase on the proper days Lightning Lane, Multi-Pass, and Single Pass. When you're in Walt Disney World and planning for that Walt Disney World trip, I personally think it's essential to budget for and purchase Lightning Lane accesses, both with Multi-Pass and Single Pass, for especially popular parks such as Magic Kingdom and Hollywood Studios. There's so much to see and do in both of these parks and so many attractions that qualify for Multi-Pass and Single Pass at the times. These passes really can help you skip the long lines and make the most of your time in the park, especially if you're only going for a short time, and that's including with 1 day per park. You honestly cannot experience everything in just one trip, so the investment in Lightning Lanes allows you and your party to prioritize your must-do attractions, as well as get in some others that may be there and enjoy more magical moments that Walt Disney World has to offer. Since you're already at that park, this additional budget can really significantly enhance your experience and help you to ensure you have a really great trip where you're doing everything you want to on your list. Walt Disney World is expensive, everyone. We are all aware. However, I know Fast Pass and Fast Pass Plus used to be free, and I truly loved that. But I truly think that Lightning Lane really does help enhance that experience. So when I plan for my trips to Walt Disney World, and even if we were looking at going to Disneyland, I always make a point to purchase our Lightning Lane Multi-Pass and Single Passes now, what used to be Genie Plus. And I do so especially for Magic Kingdom and Hollywood Studios, and I do so for Epcot for Single Pass, as well as Animal Kingdom for Single Pass. That way we are good to go. So for Flight of Passage at Animal Kingdom, that Single Pass, Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind, that Single Pass also in Epcot. And I do so just because I really enjoy those attractions, and it helps minimize time spent in that attraction queue so I can actually enjoy more of Walt Disney World, and even those little moments in between, such as grabbing a snack, enjoying time, laughing, even sitting and people watching. There's so much to do and so much to experience in the park. I really want to make the most of my time, and investing in these, I know it can be costly for yourself and anybody in your family. For instance, for a family of 4, you're looking at potentially over $1,000 or Canadian, once I budgeted it out one time for 4 people that we were trying to plan out a trip for. It was wild, but I really think it's key to having a good time, as the cost benefit analysis on these really do outweigh the time waiting in line. Again, I really do wish it was free like it was with FastPass and FastPass Plus. I love that we can do our prior attraction booking now with Lightning Lane Multi-Pass and Single Pass. But I think the investment in a line skipping service really does assist you and maximize your time within Walt Disney World, and that is why we had to include it. All right, so our 8th tip here is to familiarize yourself with My Disney Experience app before you head out for your trip. So when you plan to go to Walt Disney World, you can download the My Disney Experience app for Walt Disney World. There's also one for Disneyland, but the My Disney Experience app well before your trip. In doing so, I think it is essential to familiarize yourself with this app, as you're going to rely on it throughout your entire trip. Take some time at home and practice either booking same-day dining reservations. Just pretend to do it. Don't actually book it, but pretend to do so. Make sure you know how to use that functionality there. You can practice booking Lightning Lanes, because this is the only way you're going to secure Lightning Lane, either Single Pass and Multi-Pass, as well as book that virtual queue. You can use it at home to navigate checking deep wait times. I do this honestly all the time just for fun, as well as other features like mobile checkout for food and merchandise. Your hotel stay is listed on the app. All of that stuff, and familiarizing yourself with the My Disney Experience app for Walt Disney World can help you navigate the parks and the resorts confidently and stress-free to make yourself comfortable and having a really good time while you're there. You're not fighting with it, so to speak. Also, downloading it ahead of time is a lot better, because the in-park Wi-Fi and the in-resort Wi-Fi isn't as strong. So doing it at home really does assist with a smoother kind of process. You can log in, you can get everything you need to do, and you're good to go. I rely on My Disney Experience literally every day we're in Walt Disney World, and even ahead of time for booking dining reservations, multi-pass, single pass, Lightning Lanes, whatever it may be. Before I was familiar with it, I made a point to use it at home and practice doing so, especially when they make any changes. I do it now to features such as when they added Lightning Lane. So I was able to go through and practice making our Lightning Lanes, as well as seeing in advance, because they plug it in about a month ahead, so you know when to purchase your passes, as well as you know the cost of them. So in doing so, I'm really confident and prepared when I go to do so, because you do have to move quickly. I also will pretend to make dining reservations when I was trying to get more comfortable with it, and now that I am, I'm really good at doing it. So it's like bing, bang, boom, here we go. And I also explore different areas of the app so I can see the different functionalities of it to ensure I know how to navigate where we're going when we're going. This way, when I'm in the parks, I can focus on enjoying it instead of stressing over logistics. So our tip to you truly is to familiarize yourself with the My Disney Experience app before you go. That way you're ready, comfortable, and confident just to have a really nice vacation. Our 9th spot goes to the tip to watch and listen to various Walt Disney World YouTubers and podcasters before your trip. When you plan your trip to Walt Disney World and that vacation, it becomes really exciting when you take the time to kind of see and hear what you want to do and see how it'll actually look in real life. So I highly recommend watching videos from trusted sources like Disney Food Blog, Paging Mr. Morrow's, allears.net, their YouTube channel, and checking out Disney Food Blog and allears.net's webpage, as well as someone like Mammoth Club. All of these creators have really great, fantastic park overviews, attraction reviews, tips, dining reviews, all of that, so you can see and feel it in, quote, real life, and you get to see the park's layout and offerings. By immersing yourself in this, it really gets you an itinerary, for instance, where you see it, you know it. They take you around the park so you can see it. I also really suggest walkthroughs of the park so you know where you're going, to make sure you have a magical adventure and you're not stressed out when you get there. Yes, it can be overwhelming once you step into Walt Disney World with excitement and joy. But having the visualization and hearing it beforehand really does assist you in knowing where you're going, seeing it. It's familiar to you. I don't know about you, but I'm a person that needs to see something and kind of walk through it in my brain before actually doing it. So this sounds silly, but when I used to do dance competitions, my mom and I would go to the hotel, drop our stuff off, and we would drive our route to and from the hotel to the convention center or the hotel ballroom or wherever it was that was in a different area. In doing so, we mapped out our route before the competition. When it was actually go time, we knew how long it would take. We added some time with traffic, so on and so forth. So kind of having that practice run allowed us to get there seamlessly. And watching these videos or listening to these podcasts from these excellent creators just not only brings joy because you're seeing the park, you're seeing all the changes, you see anything along those lines, but it really does help navigate the parks very effectively and efficiently, and it gets that magical feeling going because, hey, they brought Disney to your house, basically. When I want to go to Disneyland, and I really do, I'm going to make sure I watch these videos to familiarize myself with the parks and the different areas. And in seeing the layouts and attraction and dining options even, I can navigate more confidently and make the most out of my time there without looking at a park map, seeing where I'm going, and that is my only stressor. Like I said, I'm in the parks a lot. Not like these people, but I'm in the parks a lot. So I know where I'm going, but having these amazing creators who are constantly there really does help give me a great experience and allows me to experience the new and exciting things because I hear dining reviews, for instance, or hotel reviews or attraction reviews from them. And it's like, okay, I really want to go there. I really want to try this. So it also brings you that joy too. So that is why I highly recommend to watch and listen to the various Walt Disney World YouTubers, creators, podcasters, or even people who do walkthroughs or newscasts from there, just to make sure you know where you're going and also bring you a little Disney magic at home. Our 10th, our final Hey Disney top 10 tips for planning your Walt Disney World vacation is to make sure you get your dining reservations and lightning lanes early to secure your spots. When you plan out your Disney World vacation, it is crucial to consider making dining reservations and securing lightning lanes for popular dining spots and attractions well in advance on those allotted marks. So for dining reservations, it is 60 days in advance. Now, if you're a Walt Disney World Resort guest, you have an advantage. You have 60 days for the length of your stay to book those over anybody who's staying off property or who's just booking a Walt Disney World dining reservation. They just have 60 days from whatever date it is. But you get that window. It opens up for your entire vacation. And it's the same for Lightning Lane. So for those of you who are staying on Walt Disney World property, 7 days in advance from your check-in day, not your first park day, your check-in day, you can make all the lightning lanes you need each day. So you get 3 per day to start with when you book, as well as if you purchase single pass, that's a totally different entity. You just can do it in one transaction. But you get those 3 multi-pass lightning lanes 7 days in advance from your check-in for the duration of your stay, with some caveats, especially if you're staying a lot longer. Please check that out. Now, if you are a non-resort guest, you get 3 days per the day you're going to go. So if I'm a non-resort guest and I'm going Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday to the parks, and I'm staying off of Walt Disney World property, as a reminder, I have to book each morning at 7 a.m. prior to those days, the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So 3 days before Monday would be the Friday, 3 days before the Tuesday would be the Saturday. You get where I'm going there. And those all open up for everybody at 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Why is this important when you're planning your Walt Disney World vacation? Because then you need to have a proactive approach to try and guarantee a spot in these must-try restaurants, whether it be Chef Mickey's, Cinderella's Royal Table, Topolino's Terrace for breakfast. Those are some to name a few, as well as get those coveted lightning lanes such as Tiana's Bayou Adventure. Whatever it is, it allows you to get those plans going for the most sought after attractions, dining reservations, all of that, and you do it right then and there. So you want to plan out the days in your calendar and set aside time to do something to book these so you have all the attention here and you're ready to go. There's so much to see and do in Walt Disney World, and having these reservations in place, whether it be for Lightning Lane or dining reservations, whatever it is, really helps you maximize your time and your experiences without the stress of the last minute planning. Now, you can pick up some really great Lightning Lanes and dining reservations last minute, but just saying, when you plan ahead of time, you can always modify. When you don't plan ahead of time, not everything works out. I really do start checking dining reservations 60 days in advance for our trip to secure our spots for some of our favorite restaurants. My next trip is in a little while. However, 60 days in advance, I was checking for Topolino's Terrace, the character breakfast. We did it before. We loved it. And I've been checking every day, multiple times a day, just to see if it comes back. Spoiler alert, it has not. Like I said, that is very coveted. Now, I've also had the opportunity to get, for instance, Topolino's Terrace for character breakfast a couple days in advance. I think it was like 12 days in advance. But I was planning at that 60-day mark, for instance. I also now monitor Lightning Lane prices about 3 weeks before we intend to be in the parks using the My Disney Experience app, so that I know how much it's going to cost me. And the other day I was in for a shock. We're going for it during a non-peak time, honestly, and I got to see just how much it's going to cost my family and I each day we want to purchase Lightning Lane, single pass and multi-pass. So I highly suggest doing this to make sure that you have effective park strategies, as well as ensure that you can have really great meals that you want to do and the best attractions with minimal wait time. So that is why that had to make our top 10 list for planning your trip to Walt Disney World. Okay, that is it, everyone. We have wrapped up our Hey Disney top 10 tips for planning out a Walt Disney World vacation, and it is clearly evident that planning plays a crucial role to ensure a smooth and memorable trip, as well as a happy and stress-free trip. In doing so, you just want to aim to make the most of your Walt Disney World vacation and journey there, making it memorable for all the good things. And if something bad happens, you can always laugh at it and enjoy it, but just have the best time and make an enjoyable experience. So that is why we highly suggest to plan for Walt Disney World and plan out those trips, as well as apply these top 10 tips for your next Walt Disney World vacation. Here at Happily Adventures After, we most certainly are dedicated to helping you maximize your experience at Walt Disney World. We're steering clear of any common challenges, pitfalls, whatever it be. That is why we provided you these top 10 tips for planning out your Walt Disney World vacation. But we want to hear from you. What are some of your favorite tips for planning your Walt Disney World vacation? Have you ever faced any surprises that you needed some help with? Did any plans that you did in advance help mitigate the surprise? What's your favorite way to plan out your Walt Disney World trip? Whatever it is, let us know. Join in the conversation on our blog with the corresponding blog post. Subscribe to our blog as well as our podcast here on YouTube as we dive deeper into the magic of Disney, and you can be a part of that conversation. Also, be sure to check us out on Instagram at Happily Adventures After to kind of get a look into more Walt Disney World insights, tips, tricks, and see all Walt Disney World has to offer. As well, enrich our community. Comment, subscribe, get into it, because we love to hear about your adventures too. Stay tuned for more tips, updates, and behind the scenes look at Walt Disney World, or preparing for Walt Disney World, planning for it, whatever it is, right here on Happily Adventures After. We thank you so much for listening. Keep coming back for more because it is truly beautiful. I hope you have a blessed and amazing day, and I will talk to you soon. Bye, everyone.